Man, I've gotten a lot of questions and a lot of requests for this one. So today we'll be taking a look at the OwLabs new sister brand, Qwertykeys' first custom keyboard project, the QK65, launching at a really competitive price point of $149 plus shipping. Now the QK65 is a 65% all aluminum and stainless steel keyboard with a couple of different gasket mounting styles. We have a lot to unpack here, so let's get right into it with a hyperlapse build and a reveal B-roll that you don't want to miss. So just sit back, relax, let's see how it sounds, let's see how it feels. Let's start the build. Alright, so if you enjoyed that B-roll, let your boy know by subscribing to the channel and joining the Clickbait family. Alright, so here's what you get for $150. You get an all aluminum case with a stainless steel weight, solder PCB with an optional $10 upcharge for a hot swap, one plate in the material of your choice, plate foam, PE foam, case foam, a custom molded silicone case dampener, 2 sets of unique gaskets, OwlStabs stabilizers, a coiled USB-C cable, rubber feet that hide the bottom screws of the case, a pretty nice carrying case, tri-head screwdriver, and all the necessary screws you need for assembly. Shipping cost is estimated to be between $41 to $48 depending on where you are in the world. And the estimated ship time is 4 to 6 weeks after purchase, so no long waiting for this board. The QK65 comes in many different color combinations. I was sent the navy colorway, which comes with a gold stainless steel weight, and it looks fantastic. The other colors that will be available are black and silver with different color options for the weight, and there's also an E-white version for an additional $20. So the case has 3 main pieces to it. The top case is a polished CNC aluminum alloy with an anodized or E-coat finish. The bottom case was produced with a cast aluminum process, which they did to save money in manufacturing and to make the board at a better cost. It's definitely not as nice as the top case, but it's not visible at all, so it's not really a big issue. The weight is made of 304 stainless steel and it's PVD coated. I think it was pretty clever of them to use stainless steel to give the heft and feel of some of the more premium boards on the market, and it looks really nice. Overall, I'm really impressed with the quality of the anodizing of the top case and the PVD coating on the stainless steel weight. It's really smooth, and I didn't have any streaking or blemishes on the finish on my unit. So the design aesthetic is pretty vanilla, and it looks like a typical 65% keyboard from a top-down view. But that's not a bad thing at all. It does have a nice cut angle on the side, and the edges of the board are rounded off so it's not sharp to the touch. Also, there's no seams on the side of the case, and the bottom screws are hidden beneath the feet. So I'd say it's a really clean design. So here's some quick specs for the QK65. The typing angle is 7.5 degrees. The front height is 19.5 millimeters. And I find it comfortable to use without a wrist rest. The keyboard weighs in around 2.87 pounds unbuilt, but my final build came in right at 4 pounds. The plate materials available are going to be palm, PC, FR4, and aluminum. They took material hardness into consideration when placing the flex cuts. Softer plates like PC and palm have less, and FR4 and aluminum will have more in order to achieve a little bit of bounce with those materials. Qwertykeys did send out all 4 plates for me to try out, so look for a sound test of all 4 plates coming real soon. I'll try to get it up before the board goes on sale, so subscribe just so you don't miss that. It will be exclusive on this channel. So the PCB is 1.2 millimeters thick, and it has some interesting flex cut patterns on it, which I find to give it a fairly consistent typing experience across the board. But it's less flexy than some of the other flex cut PCBs I've tried. It has an onboard USB-C connection as well. Since there's some flex, you would often see daughter boards included in these type of keyboards, but they did a good job of adding enough clearance to the USB cutout to accommodate. So essentially what OwLabs is doing with Qwertykeys is pushing down the innovation they brought with the Jelly Epoch and the Mr. Suit down to a much lower price point with their Qwertykeys branding. And I think it's been executed really well. An example of that are the two gasket styles they included with the QK65. First, they include the jelly gaskets, which fit over the entire leaf spring of the plate, similar to the Jelly Epoch. And if you want a little bit more flex, they included the Mr. Suit socks, which slide onto the sides of the leaf springs. For my build, I decided to go with the socks. So overall, the build process was pretty simple, but I expect there to be some first-time mechanical keyboard buyers, so let me go into some things that you may want to know when building. And as always, when in doubt, follow the build guide. So the rubber bump-ons for the feet actually cover up the 4 screws at the bottom of the weight. Once you remove the 4 screws, you can safely remove the stainless steel weight. There you'll be greeted with the bottom case, which has an additional 8 screws. These screws will require a different screw bit from what is used for the stainless steel weight, but if you use a provided tool, you should be set. One thing to note, the screws do look the same, but upon closer inspection, you can see that the screws at the back of the board are a bit longer, so make sure you don't mix these up. Okay, once you remove the bottom case, you'll get to the PCB plate assembly. The one thing I wanted to show you here was that the bottom case gasket cutouts are smaller than the leaf springs on the plate. So this could throw you off a bit when building, but this is an intentional move to create some space for the gaskets and the leaf springs to flex a bit. I would recommend when installing the PCB plate assembly to install it in the top case first, which has the correct size cutouts for the gaskets and leaf springs, and then place the case foam on top of the PCB and then the bottom case on top of that. This will ensure that you're all lined up as intended. So that's really it. The rest of the board is pretty straightforward, and once again, refer to the build guide if this is your first custom keyboard, or even if you just need help. Alright, pro tip for you beginners, make sure you install your switches with the plate and PCB on a flat surface and not after it's been installed in the case. You don't want to do that. Sometimes you could pop out a hot swap socket, which will give you a lot of trouble in the long run. So just make sure you install the full plate, PCB and foam, all that stuff on a flat surface. You should be good to go. Alright, pros and cons time. We'll start with the cons first. At the starting price of $150, I really didn't find anything major to report, but there are a couple things I'll make mention of. I'd love to see the shipping cost come down a bit through local vendors here in the United States. I think $41 to $48 is a bit high, especially when you're trying to pitch a budget board. The coating and color of the weight on the inside is a bit scuffed, but you'll never really see it, and at this price, it's hard to complain about something like that. Now on my unit, a couple of the screws didn't thread in as smooth as I'd like, even though the screws were lined up perfect. It could be the coating on the bottom case is interfering, but after a couple of installs, it smoothens out a bit, but something worth pointing out. Alright, let's go over the pros. Now I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but the price for what you're getting is unreal. I'm speaking specifically for a custom keyboard. I know there's a lot of keyboards out there for a similar price, but you won't get the same fit and finish, typing acoustics, and typing experience, in my opinion. Now, typing feels soft with some mild bounce when using the sock gaskets. Removing some of the foams will increase the bounce, but I wouldn't say that's the most flexy board that I've used, but the typing experience is really satisfying. Now the sound of the QK65 is pretty phenomenal at $150. It sounds really close to my Mr. Suit, but at a fraction of the cost. It sounds good with and without the foams, but my preference is with all the foams minus the case foam and silicone dampener. I installed the same build as my Mr. Suit review video just to compare the sound signature. I used the SP Star Meteor white switches and a palm plate, and if I closed my eyes and typed, the sound and feel is not that far off, and that says a lot. Take a listen. So final thoughts, I think you guys know where I'm going with this. This board is an absolute steal at this price and is a must cop for anyone looking to buy a 65% mechanical keyboard, especially if you missed out on the Jelly Epoch and the Mr. Suit. If those boards were out of your price range or really hard to get, you may be in luck with this one. I give this one a massive recommendation. Alright, I'm done here. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. If you love the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. It'd mean a lot to me. I got a lot of boards on the way to review, so I'll see you in the next one. Peace.